a doll, she's a queen, she's a tantalizing teen, and Karen is her name. They call her Karen. At a party, she's a stomper and a rock and rollin' romper. Everybody's glad she came. Hey, that's Karen! She sets her hair with great precision. It's her favorite indoor sport. And by the light of television, she can even write a book report. There is no one greater north or south of the equator. Karen's always in a whirl. She's alarming but disarming and a really very charming modern girl.
And now let's take a moment to hear from our...
Hiya, honey.
I'm tired.
Well, I see you're doing your homework early tonight.
Yeah. I want to finish early so I can watch Berkeley Place on television. Beverly Morley's either going to have a baby or the doctor's lying to her because he's in love with her mother.
And now, a few words from Mouse.
Aaron, if you're really trying to study, would you please turn off that transistor?
Sure, Dad. I hate this group anyway. Hi, dear. Thought I heard you come in.
Hi, honey.
How are you?
Barbara, what's that sound?
What sound?
That moaning. Seems like it's coming from the den. What's going on in there?
Oh, that's Mimi.
Mamie? What's she doing, strangling one of her friends?
Hard to describe. Maybe you better see for yourself.
Mamie, what in the world is that?
Well, I don't know, but some guy named Beethoven wrote it.
Steve, if the girls were to do that, you'd be the first one to give them a lecture on bacteria and the reason for forks.
Well, I certainly would. But with me, sampling food is just an automatic reflex. That transistor radio of Karen's. Do you know that girl can talk to me, do her homework, and change stations all at the same time?
Well, I've seen you watch one football game on television and listen to another one on radio at the same time.
Yeah. Well, maybe it runs in the family.
Steve, you don't seem very curious about why Mimi should take up the cello all of a sudden.
No, I just figured it's one of those things you do at a certain age. Remember, when I was Mimi's age, the whole school broke out in a rash of bell-bottom pants. And believe me, you were nothing if your trousers didn't cover your shoes.
I can't imagine the school breaking out in a rash of cellos.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe the 6th grade has a terrific crush on Pablo Casal. Oh, kids are really nutty at that age.
Steve, I'm serious. You know, it's really strange why Mimi's taking up the cello.
Well, if you're so worried, why don't you ask her?
I did. She was evasive. Steve, I'm losing her.
Why? What did she say when you asked her about the cello?
Well, she said she was suddenly very interested in classical music and that Mozart sends her. And she thinks the symphony orchestra can clobber groups like the Animals anytime.
And you don't believe her?
Well, this is the same girl who wanted to tattoo John Lennon and Ringo on her arm only last week. I'm losing her, Steve. She doesn't confide in me anymore. I don't know what she's really thinking.
Well, maybe she feels rejected.
Rejected?
Sure, you turned her away. After all, how much room does it take to put a short word like Ringo on a girl's arm?
And you ought to hear the neat junk that Joseph Hayden writes. That's Haydn. Yeah, well, anyway, he has no beat at all, but he's loaded with melody line, counterpoint, and grace notes. Extra junk that nobody could hear if there was a beat going on. Daddy, did you know there isn't one single electric guitar in a symphony orchestra?
Well, that's probably because in the old days, Joseph Haydn, Schubert, and people like that had no place to plug them in.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Can't we talk about something else? We've had the cello from soup clear through to the ice cream.
Now, don't misunderstand me, Mimi. We're delighted that you want to be in the school symphony, but, well, what made you decide all of a sudden?
Well, you get out of gym twice a week to rehearse, and, well, they lend you a free cello and everything, and they teach you how to play it. I'm a real rotten player now, but if I practice real hard, I get to play in the second cello section. And Tchaikovsky and those guys are real swingers. Mom, it was a real neat dinner. Can I go now?
I suppose so. I'll call you back when it's time to do the dishes.
Karen?
I'll be back to help you with the dishes, Mom.
See, Steve, she won't talk to us, but she'll confide in Karen.
Oh, fine.
What's fine about it?
The last I heard, Karen's still talking to us. We'll know the whole story within 10 minutes.
You just don't know girls.
Oh?
This very minute, Mimi is swearing Karen to eternal silence, or she won't tell her a thing.
Now, hop backwards and say, may my arteries bust if I reveal what my sister tells me.
Honey, if you have something to tell me, tell me. I will not hop backwards and say ridiculous things about my arteries.
It's a real neat development about what we were talking about yesterday.
Mimi. Now, listen, you're the one who wants to do all the talking. I could be downstairs right now helping with the dishes or something.
You're going to fall right down on the floor and scream when I tell you what it is.
Well, I'll hop backwards, but I'm not going to say that stuff about my arteries.
Raise your hand. May Karen's arteries bust if she tells what I'm going to tell her. Now hop backwards.
Now, what happened?
He said hello to me today.
Which he?
Harold.
Mimi. Now, that may be big news to you, but I'm not going to fall down just because he said hello to you.
Up to today, all he said was junk like, will you please get out of the way or watch where you're going, stupid. Today, he actually said hello.
Well, did you say hello first?
Well, sure.
There's a couple of things I think you ought to know about being a girl.
Certainly been up there a long time.
And we're letting them get away with it. We're doing the dishes.
I don't think that's the plan this time, Steve. I think Mimi is actually confiding in Karen. Thinks she should be confiding in her mother.
You sure you're not just unhappy because you're missing out on a little gossip?
It's not gossip. I know what it is. It's a boy.
A boy? Are we talking about Mimi? Our little Mimi?
A boy. And there's some connection between that cello and the boy. I'm sure of it.
Honey, I bow down to a woman's intuition in some things. But Mimi's latest definition of a boy is yuck. And it wasn't 10 days ago that we had to go down to school and apologize to that boy's mother because Mimi hit him in the stomach for saying she had on a nice dress.
All boys. One boy. They're up there now discussing one of the most important phases of a girl's life. And I'm being left out of it.
All right, now what makes you so sure?
I did the same thing to my mother.
And getting into the orchestra so you can be near him, well, that's all right. But never, never, never let him know that you're interested.
Yeah, but if I go around fluffing him off and he goes around fluffing me off, we'll just be doing nothing but fluffing each other off for the rest of our lives.
But there's other ways to make him notice you, like laugh when he tells a joke, or ask his advice about rosin or something. But don't flap your eyelashes at him and be too eager. And don't start the conversation.
You know, Karen, you're a pretty neat big sister to have.
Oh, you're okay, too. Anyway, good luck with the... Oh, what's his name again?
Harold. Harold Osterstock.
Swell. Well, remember what I told you not to do.
Okay. Only I don't think I'll get a chance not to do it. I don't even sit near him in the orchestra yet. He plays second cello, and I'm stuck in the corner with all the rotten players.
I guess the best thing to do, then, is to practice on the cello till you're good enough to sit right alongside of him.
Karen, next time I hate you for something, I'll remember today, and I'll only hate you half as much as I would have.
Oh, hello, dear. Looks like we got home at the same time.
Yeah, I guess.
Anything interesting going on at school?
Oh, Mom, heck no.
How are things going in the orchestra?
I'm going to quit it.
Oh, you mustn't do that, honey. You've hardly given it a chance. Mimi, is there anything happening that you'd like to tell me about?
Happening?
Well, you know. I mean, a mother is meant to share things with her daughter. There isn't a thing in this world you can't tell me that I won't try very hard to understand.
Well, there's nothing going on or anything. Everything's real dumb.
What's everybody doing out here?
Karen.
Excuse me a minute, Mom. Well, but Minnie, that's no reason to quit the orchestra.
The only reason I joined it was him. He's going to quit, so am I.
But how do you know he's quit?
He hasn't been to rehearsal 2 days in a row. Karen, supposed to get sick to your stomach when you walk into a room and he's not there?
Well, Mimi. Yeah. But after a while, you'll get used to it.
Hello? Yeah, it's me, Francine. You sure? Hey, Lee! He didn't quit the orchestra. He had stomach flu. Hey, why don't you come over for dinner, Francine? Sure, it's okay. Oh, but this is the first time you've ever eaten in front of my parents. So be sure and say please and thank you and tell them what a neat dinner it was and all that junk. Okay? Bye. Was written by Johann Sebastian somebody.
Barbara, is that you?
No.
Well, somebody around here is crying, and I'm quite sure it isn't me. Oh, now, come on, honey. What is it? What's the matter?
She was just a baby a few days ago. Now I don't even know her. She doesn't say anything to me. I don't even know what's going on.
Oh.
She's happy one minute and miserable the next. Steve, suppose she's in some sort of trouble at school or something.
Well, I thought you were so sure it was a boy.
I'm not sure about anything. Suppose somebody's putting pressure on her to take up the cello. Suppose the orchestra teacher is forcing her.
I can't quite imagine them having a mafia down at school, putting a strong arm on children to join the symphony orchestra.
Oh, something's wrong, and it's not a boy. It's something worse.
Honey, you're just letting your imagination run away with you. Now, come on, calm down, and let's just stop and think of this. Come in.
Mom, can I borrow you? How come you made Mama cry?
Wait a minute. Why is it always automatically assumed around here that every time your mother cries, I caused it?
Well, the last time she cried, it was because you yelled at her about the bill. And the time before that, because
Okay. Look, sit down a minute. I want to ask you something.
What's the matter, Dad?
Tell me, did Mimi swear you to secrecy about something recently?
Sure. Do you want me to rat on her?
Ratting on your sister has nothing to do with it. Let's just say we're clearing up a mystery.
Okay, Dad. But if I tell I'm in the rat think class... Anyway, my arteries just might bust.
Take a look at your mother. You want that to continue?
It's all right, Steve. We can't run our home on the spy system.
But, Mother... Nothing to worry about. Mimi's just got a crush on the boy in orchestra.
Crush on a boy? Oh, that's hard to believe. Why, she still passes a football like a bullet.
Oh, Dad, but she'll go back to playing football and collecting bugs and all that. She's just going through an early breakthrough.
An early breakthrough?
Yeah. Like when I was 6, I had a crush on Pinky Lee.
Boy, is he older?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't think he knows that she's alive. Oh, she's practicing so much because she wants to get good enough to sit by him in orchestra. He's in the 2nd section. I'm really sorry that she's not telling you all this, but you know how it is.
Yes, dear. I know how it is.
Thanks, honey.
Oh, we better be careful of what we say. Mimi's pretty smart.
Oh, don't worry, honey. She'll never know that we know.
Well, just don't say anything by accident like did they move your chair in orchestra or Harold Osterstock.
Harold Osterstock?
That's his name.
Don't worry, honey. One of the last things we'll ever say by accident is Harold Osterstock.
Night, honey. You see, dear?
See what?
I told you it was a boy. Harold Osterstock.
Karen, you want to hear something neat?
What?
Mr. Atherton moved me up 3 chairs. I'm only 1 chair away from him.
Oh, well, that's great. I thought I was beginning to recognize some of the things you've been playing lately.
And the creamiest part of the news. I invited him over for dinner and to practice.
Oh, what'd he say?
Well, he said okay if my mother doesn't serve spinach. And he hates pork chops. And he's not allowed to drink coffee unless it's the kind to take out all the caffeine. And he has to leave by 9 o'clock so he won't miss Frontier Laddie.
Seems to put a lot of conditions on coming over to dinner. Seems to me like you're playing right into his hands, Mimi.
Yeah, isn't it neat? Is it okay if we have a musician over for dinner and practice?
Francine again, dear?
No, this is another one.
Oh, I suppose it'll be okay.
Great. Mom, you're not going to serve spinach or pork chops, are you?
No.
Good. Oh, do you think you could get some of that coffee they took the caffeine out of so kids could drink it?
Must be a special guest. Who is this musician, Mimi?
Boy, Mom, I knew you'd ask that.
What'd Mama say?
She asked me who he was. Boy, parents can't stand it unless they're butting in on what kids are doing.
Me. Come over here. I want to have a little talk with you. Only I'm going to do all the talking.
But what are you yelling about? I didn't do anything.
Mimi, do you realize that when I was your age, I used to think the same dumb things about parents? But I didn't have a big sister to straighten me out. Why do you say a stupid thing like parents are always butting in on what kids want to do?
Because they are.
Well, where do you think we'd be if they didn't? Listen, do you realize that Mother was crying the other night because she thought that you were in some kind of trouble? What kind of trouble? She didn't know, Mimi. All she knew was that you were acting like some kind of a creep. She knew something was bothering you, only she was waiting for you to come in and tell her.
Guy, kids don't tell their mothers junk about boys.
Well, they should, especially when they have a neat mother like you have.
Was she really crying?
Yes, she was. I bet in about 5 minutes Dad would have come in here and clobbered you. Now, come on, you march right down those stairs and tell Mother about Harold and the orchestra and everything.
Do I have to use words like crush and junk like that?
No, just beat around the bush in that general direction. Maybe she'll know what you're talking about. She's not as dumb as you think.
Was she really crying?
Yes, she was. And even when they clobber us, it's because they love us. Now, remember that.
So she actually told you the whole story about the orchestra, Harry Oysterstick, and everything, huh?
Harold Osterstock. It's a proud Teutonic name, according to Mimi. Steve, would you like a plate of what you're sticking your finger into?
Oh, thanks, honey. That'd spoil all the fun. So you finally got what you wanted. She confided, did you, huh?
Well, with a little urging from Karen, but I accept it. Honey, would you get that? You know, once she got started, she couldn't turn it off. It brought back memories. I thought I'd forgotten.
Oh, you had a Harold once, too, huh?
Oh, Thomas Elwyn. He ruined his kneecap sliding into a sprinkler head just for me.
After a demonstration like that, I don't see how you ever married me. That's our musical tutor now. I can hardly wait to see what he looks like.
Oh, Steve, now wait a minute. We mustn't make fun of them, even by innuendo. You know, this is very important to Mimi, and she'll be watching our every move.
I won't even raise an eyebrow. You forget, I was once a herald to a young lady named Dorothy Prellingaster.
Mimi, if you don't let him in, he's going to go home. Do I look okay? You look fine. Now, go on. Let him in. Okay, stand over here.
Boy, Mimi, 5 guys saw me standing out here with this thing.
Any girls?
Gee, I don't know. Can I come in?
Sure.
Thank you, Mimi. Well, I suppose you intend to go on with your music after college, Harold.
Heck no, Mr. Scott. I'm going to be a coach.
Football?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm kind of runny to play football, and my dad says it's too early to hold out for a bonus in baseball.
Well, why'd you take up the cello?
Well, we had it in our attic. My mom says my grandfather used to play it at Carnegie's Hall or something.
Oh, and she wants you to follow in your grandfather's footsteps. Is that it?
I don't think so. I think she just hates to see junk go to waste.
What do you think about Beethoven?
Which one is he?
When it goes da 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 da.
Oh, he's okay. But I like the one that goes da 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 dum 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 better.
Isn't that John Philip Sousa?
I guess. He's boss.
You like march tempos, is that it, Harold?
Sure. There's never any part for a cello in it. May I please have some more gravy?
Sure.
Is that the one by Johann Sebastian somebody?
Hey, Daddy, stop it.
You know something, honey? I'm a very wonderful father.
Yes, dear. We're both very good parents.
What about me? I'm listening, too.
We're all wonderful people.
All right, Grace. Anytime you say. Uh-huh. I'll have to call you back, Grace. Mimi just stormed in. I think we have another crisis. Right. Bye. You want to tell me about it, Mimi?
I hate Mr. Atherton.
Mr. Atherton? Isn't he your orchestra teacher?
Yeah. Boy, is he a mess.
Better leave the personal observations out of it, Mimi. What's wrong?
Well, I've been practicing and practicing the cello.
I know, dear.
Well, he went and promoted me.
Well, that's a compliment, isn't it?
Yeah, but who asked him to promote me right past Harold?
You mean you're in the first cello section and Harold is still in the second?
Mm-hmm. Clear across the room from me with the violas and all that junk.
Well, I know just how you feel, dear. The same thing happened to me when I was your age.
Did you play the cello?
No, but a boy I liked named Thomas Elwyn was transferred to another school. Shook me up pretty badly.
Gee, Harold's still in the orchestra.
Of course. And maybe moving Thomas away was the best thing that could happen.
How come?
I might never have met Daddy.
Yeah. Maybe I'll meet some bassoon player or something. Thanks, Mom. Really neat when we have little talks like this.
Almost boss.
Gee,
a doll, she's a queen, she's a tantalizing teen, and Karen is her name. They call her Karen. At a party, she's a stomper and a rock and rollin' romper. Everybody's glad she came. Hey, that's Karen! She sets her hair with great precision. It's her favorite indoor sport. And by the light of television, she can even write a book report. There is no one greater north or south of the equator. Karen's always in a whirl. She's alarming but disarming and a really very charming modern girl.